Yes, I think it was a lovely last panel, and I think this is the only young panel you will have today, and I will make it really, really nice for you all. So Sanvi and I were talking outside, and she was like, "So all of them, look a little aged. So what kind of?" Like, what should we talk about? So, first of all, I would like to invite Sage Kanthami. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I would want for you both to start with your introductions, because that's where the first question will begin. We'll start with you, Sanvi.
Hi, my name is Tanvi. I was born here and I was raised in Chandigarh. I took up my first corporate job in Gurgaon with Bain, and then I moved to my family business. We manufacture pharmaceuticals. We have plants in Daddi, and then within the first year of joining my family business, I thought I wasn't creatively engaged. So I started a D2C brand called Well. This is skincare, and we sell on Amazon. We have our own website and all that. It's been 2 years now, and that's about it.
Hi, my name is Shreyas, and I'm also from Chandigarh. I did my college from Delhi, and initially I wanted to become a CEO or work something in commerce, but I always wanted to do something in sport. And from the very start, sports is something that I really feel attached to. So I dropped everything and thought I should become a sports journalist. I worked for Sportskeeda, which still is India's biggest digital platform for sports, and covered so many events I can't remember all of them. Went across the length and breadth of Delhi and even North India, and then I moved to the Indian football team. I was their media manager, traveled with the team, men, women, senior, junior, and tried to do what I could do with my skill set to promote football in our country. And then COVID happened, and then we have a family business as well, retail. So I thought sports and retail can go together in this, and I want to come back home as well. That felt natural at that time. So I've been working it for the last couple of years, and it's been a nice journey so far.
That's great. So, I have a lot of friends who are into family business. Even my co-founder, we doing this family business recently. I have this, and I ask this question to almost all of my friends. You're just doing your respective family business. Can you share your experiences on how the transition was for you? Because whenever I ask this question, I get such amazing answers. Some are funny, some are very witty, some are like, oh, it's very tough to, explain the generation कि हमें क्या करना है, उनको क्या करना है. So if you can tell me what was the transition for you like, and if you faced any thought conflicts or challenges.
I worked for a year with Bain, and that was a very organized setup. When I moved to my family business, naturally things were not as organized as they would have been in a consulting company. The least I could say is that it was extremely challenging. Honestly, to the outside, everybody thinks that it is something that has been given to you on a platter. And क्या ही करना होगा इसमें, कितना ही मुश्किल होगा, तुम्हारे मम्मी पापा ने इसको मैं दे ही दिया है तो फिर the least you can do is take it up. But for the next generation, it gets a little bit challenging because nobody wants to help you. You have come from the outside, and you suddenly have all this preference because you're the child. Very often, people who run a family business do not give preferential treatment to their children at all. It may seem like that, but it is not true. And they shouldn't do it either, because anyway, the odds are stacked against them. A, no one helps you. B, no one is there to teach you anything. Your parent will be extremely involved in their day-to-day activities. So you are just this nebulous concept in the office trying to find your way. It takes really long, and honestly, being part of a family business is a test in patience, because you'll keep disappointing your parents, you'll keep disappointing yourself. You will want to quit several times, but every time you want to quit, you just have to stay put and think and hope that it gets better. This is what my strategy was. I don't know what strategies work for other people. So there's just one thing that works in a family business, and that is resilience. If you spend long enough in a place, you will learn about it, even if you don't have the education for it. You just have to be resilient. So my strategy and my transition into the family business was marked by just immense amount of resilience. कि जो भी होता रहे, कितना भी बुरा लगे, just stick it out. And that initial sticking it out is, I think, what paves your way. I feel now I am settled, and it's been 5 years for me. So no time period is long enough, no time period is short enough. There's only one answer here, and that is resilience.
That's really great. We'll come to you now.
I think Sammy summed it up pretty well. Very little I can also add to this. Just to add my experience, it's at first you feel lost, you feel what are you doing here, right? मेरा तो अच्छा चल रहा था पहले, इतना मजा आ रहा था, कहाँ फंस गया आगे? But I think down the line, with age, with more experience, you realize that what you learned at the past never goes to waste. Some form of it does apply, and then it's also finding a way, keep thinking of ways where you can add value, how I can add value already चल रहा है, इसमें मैं क्या करूँगा, मेरे को तो आता भी नहीं है, मैं तो सीख रहा हूँ. So I think first and foremost, you can just do the basics right. Just show up on time first of all. I think family businesses may, I think there's this stereotype also that everyone works in their own way, and it's true to an extent also. So what I could do is what was in my control, just be there. If everyone is coming at 11, I have to be there at 10:30. If everyone is leaving at 5, everyone is leaving at 6, I have to stay there at 7. And if I've been asked to do something, I have to deliver it before the deadline. So whatever is in my control, that I have to do. If I've been asked कि जाओ बस देख के आया क्या हो रहा है, तो initially I used to think क्या देखूँ, अरे मैं देख रहा हूँ, but slowly you get into it, you talk. I was naturally a very shy and reserved person. I don't like to talk much, and now I can't believe I'm doing this right now. So yeah, this has helped me just going to malls, talking to stores, people in stores, customers, people who are working there, even people who bring stock from the back. You have to talk to them. You have to understand what their problems are. Only then you will get a grip of what's actually happening. People who are working under you, they expect you to solve their problems, right? So for that, you need to know more than them. So that's the process that you have to work on. And I think, yeah, after some time, again, being resilient, like she said, you listen to a lot of stuff. You have to put your ego down, and you have to just think, "ठीक है, हो जाएगा." Yeah, and thankfully, I have a sports background. I love sports. Again, I'm repeating myself, but yeah, luckily my brands I work with, they are into sports, so I could add value there as well as an athlete, as someone who's worked with athletes. So I think, yeah, it's been working on.
Just to add a little bit to that, you mentioned about thought clashes, and it is natural that you're younger and anyway, even in personal life, you have multiple clashes with your parents. You never see eye to eye so many times. Obviously, in business, you will also have thought clashes. But initially, I used to have more of these, but then there needs to be some humility that needs to be instilled in any person who wants to join the family business, and that is, these people have been running the show for decades, and there is no way you know more than they do. They have sailed the ship through turbulent seas, through calm seas. They've seen so much in their life. So, just shut up and listen to them is something that's extremely important. And if you think that you know more than them, there is nobody more wrong than you in the whole situation.
That's great.
Yeah. Also, some stuff might seem basic to us because you obviously worked in Bain. I also worked in a professional organization. So these things become basic to us, but there is something that I think people in businesses that generations are not even aware about, something like Google Sheets basically. So like we have to run a network across Punjab, across North India. They still used to do it on phone calls or WhatsApp.
WhatsApp.
Yeah, so I think Google Sheet बना लो ना यार, अपने आप लोग कर लेंगे, वहीं से summary बन के आपको आ जाएगी, ऐसा भी होता है.
कोई भरता ही नहीं है Google Sheet, तो अभी कैसे?
वो एक अलग चैलेंज होता है Google Sheet बनवाना, फिर फोन करते हैं Google Sheet नहीं बना. But again, now it's streamlined. Something that seems so obvious, so simple to us is actually a challenge for other people, and especially if you're working with staff, with your teammates who are not as educated, who come from humble backgrounds. You have to put yourself in their shoes, and working in corporate before, working in other organizations before, you can also sympathize with them. For people who directly jump into businesses, they might take time to understand what their staff is thinking. When you have worked as an employee yourself, तुम्हें पता है यार बॉस के बारे में, आपको पता है क्या क्या ख्याल है आपके दिमाग में, एंड आपको लगता है हाँ ये भी मेरे बारे में सोच रहा हूँ, वैलिड है. शुरू में लगता है कि यार क्यों सोच रहे हैं मेरे बारे में, but it is the way the people way people think, and it is natural. So you have to understand it and let it go and not let it affect yourself.
Super. Right. So, Sweet, I have a question for you since you've talked about sports. Since we're talking about ideas of tomorrow, what do you see as the next big opportunity in sports industry first? And also, what advice would you give to young founders or even any kind of professional who wants to get into sports? Because it's a very unsegmented industry. I remember there was a time when I wanted to become an IPL anchor because I thought it was a very glamorous job, but I never knew how to get into that. So we can share some light on that.
I think for us, sports just means Olympics, cricket, थोड़ा बहुत football, and so everyone has certain sports they like. Some follow the news, the major event comes up. We all try to stay updated with that. That becomes part of communication. But I think sports is grassroots. What people are doing every day. People going to the fields. The coaches working with young players, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, dreaming that 20 years later we win a gold medal or something and make something out of us as make our nation proud. So I think that is where the opportunity lies at grassroots level. सबको लगता है कि हम IPL में काम करेंगे, ये होता है sports career का beginner. But it's not that. It is working with young children, making sports accessible to them, giving them a pathway. Like if I want to make my younger brother and my nephew a footballer right now, I don't know where to start. Even working in football so many years, I will tell him to रहने दिया तो पढ़ाई करेगा because it's not a very practical thing, and people right now who take up sports are mostly those who want security in their life. They want a government job, they want a government department job. It's not professionalized as such. What we see on TV is just the tip of the iceberg. The iceberg is not very pretty, to be very honest. So we have to make the journey something special. It has to be professional. Europe is a base for us. So I give an example in this. So when I saw coaches work with under 18, under 19 players, they are teaching them basics of how to master a football, how to manipulate, to play with the football. That is something that kids in Japan, in Europe, learn at the age of 8. So we are generations behind, and so we have to follow a professional pathway, and that is where the opportunities come. So as a entrepreneur who wants to enter into sports, you have to be extremely passionate about it. You have to, I think it's not the most profitable thing in the world, but you have to keep building, being resilient, be patient, and genuinely do some good for youngsters, and so that they can dream of becoming a sports person and a successful sports person and a good person at the end of it.
So perfect. I think a lot of our members will love Sanvi. I don't know if you've seen her Instagram, but she does give a lot of book recommendations. She's an avid book reader, right? So Sanvi, since you have a great digital presence and I've been following you for a while now, I realized that your personal branding is really good. And I think you've touched almost 1 lakh followers now? Yeah. Congratulations on that as well. So can you talk more about personal branding? And as we were discussing outside, you said it's very different for women as compared to, men. So can you talk a little bit about it?
So speaking of personal branding, if you have any enterprise that you're running and you're heading, it is very important for people to trust you. And I think the only way you can build trust with your customers, with anyone you decide to associate with, is by putting more of yourself out there. Now again, for a lot of people will argue that we are shy, we are introverted, we don't want our life up for scrutiny. The truth is you don't have to put your life up for scrutiny. There are aspects of your personality, there are aspects of your interests that can go up. When I started Wellwell, I thought that marketing is going to be the biggest chunk of my spend. And I felt that if I had an audience of myself, I would be able to reach more people immediately. Say there's a new product or there is a new scheme. To have some eyeballs of my own would be great. So I started off for Wellwell. Okay, I will talk about my skincare brand, I will talk about my life a little bit, I will talk about my challenges as someone who started a D2C setup, and that brought a few people in, whoever was interested. But then I realized when you get into the content creation game, you have to package so much value for the person who's deciding to follow you and who's deciding to spend 30 seconds on your reel or on your post. So I then moved to something that was very integral to my life, which was reading. And I was anyway reading a lot of books. Obviously my to be read pile is always taller than my read pile. But I decided that in order for me to sustainably and resiliently again create content, I needed it to be joined with my life. I needed it to be like a core of my life. And because reading was that, I decided to spin it off from there. So when it became something that was so close to me, like a hobby that I really enjoyed, it became easier for me to create that content. And when I started creating it, I got more and more people, because nobody wants to hear you self-promote. They want value for themselves. And for me, honestly, and for most girls, when they're growing up, they are riddled with imposter syndrome. Am I even worth it? Am I good enough? Is this something that I deserve? And I find that it is more prevalent in women than it is in men. Men still feel that they are entitled to the kind of attention they are getting. Women honestly keep questioning themselves. So I have not gotten over it, but as many people have said, fake it till you make it. I pretend like all of this is something that I deserve, and I keep moving forward. So personal branding, again, I feel is really important. You don't have to share everything, but if you have an enterprise, I just feel that having people interested in what you have to say and what you have to do is very, very important. It's a lot of hidden trial. It is a lot of iteration, but what in life is not. So that is that.
Lovely. I have one question, and I particularly love this question because this is one thing that I have learned during my business journey. I'm not sure if old age businesses focused on this. You can throw light on it. Many founders today recognize the significance of community engagement. I myself have worked and collaborated with different brands that share the same community. And we have worked on that because it helps you, build loyalty and retain your customers. And so, do you think that community engagement is like one of the biggest marketing activity that you can do, because it will help you retain your customers for a very, very long time?
Yeah, I feel there is nothing. I think community engagement is at the core of any marketing activity right now. If you are not connected to if you're not connected to the people, A, you don't get the feedback you should be getting, and B, they need to feel that they are valued and that you value the business that they are giving you. And I think that is only possible if you're engaging. I do this one thing wherein I send an email personally from my personal email account to all the people who have spent a certain amount on the Well store, and I ask them how they feel about it, if their experience was good, if everything went well, and I send it to about 25 people a month, but I only get maybe one response, and that's fine. Again, at the risk of repeating myself, resilience, just keep going at it.
Yeah. No, I think for a customer, so I did an internship at a makeup brand once, and I remember the founder calling their,
I've also done that. Yeah.
So sometimes it's good, your customer is happy, but if it's not happy, then you have 30 minutes long conversation.
Again, this is why I have to go for it, because in retail, and I'm sure you'll agree, because there are so many touch points, many people can be disgruntled and many people can be mad at you कि भाई तुमने ऐसे किया ऐसे, and you're thinking कि भाई 100 चीजें ठीक करने के बाद भी 2 गलत हो गए हैं, this person is giving me a hard time, but anyway I like to take that up.
Yeah, so in my personal experience, this marketing side is usually happened by the brand. We usually do the operations part of it, but of course when the customer is there at the store shopping with us, is getting feedback, we have to be extremely communicative, make them stick, and we have to train our colleagues in the same way that they attend to the customer properly, understand their needs, and give them what they actually need. So this is what works for us usually, and I think there are many examples around us of brands who have used community engagement really well. Like there are so many competitor brands like Adidas, Skechers, they're run clubs that work so well. They build such a nice community. Their products actually add value, and you can actually showcase the competency of your products in that way. So, and it's actually helping people become fitter, adding value to their lives, and helping them make new bonds as well. So I think there's Run Club initiative, and there's one in by Skechers in Chandigarh, in Delhi, there's Nike, Adidas, all these big brands doing this. So I think this is at the core of retaining customers and making them feel valued, like you said, and making them connected to the brand.
Perfect. Just one last question and then we take up questions from the audience. We're talking about ideas of tomorrow. In your head, what do you think would be the next big idea that could, generate maybe a lot of community engagement, a lot of money? Although I personally believe old age business में ही पैसा आता है, new age business सिर्फ hype के लिए. I love the Banya mindset. Running the new age business, the amount of problems I've tackled, I've gone back to people who are doing old age businesses. I've learned so much from them, their work ethic, the way they handle things, everything. But still, for the hype, for the new age businesses that are coming up, for the community, what do you think is one good idea that will take over?
Honestly, I feel that chasing the hype, starting a business because you're chasing a hype is the wrong reason to start a business. I think the biggest difference between traditional businesses and businesses that come up now, chasing valuations and chasing investors, is that these people, our parents and grandparents, they started businesses because they wanted to feed families. We start businesses because we think that it's glamorous, and I think there is something fundamentally wrong with that. Your business will not be, your business is not chasing, say, I mean, if you're not being able to break even, if you're chasing this concept of valuation, I feel it is impossible to run a business profitably because you're chasing something completely different. Now, for me, I think the big hype or an investable proposition is something that I don't even think about because I want to make money while I run the business. I don't want to make my money when I exit it. And when I am running the business, for me, I feel the only big idea over there is a solid belief that you will be able to do something better than what the existing businesses are doing. That could be your price, that could be your distribution, that could be your distribution in terms of scale, or it could be your quality. I feel the next big idea is what you want it to be, and the next big idea comes from your own skill set and competency. Cloud computing हो, AI हो, फलान हो, उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता अगर आपको वो नहीं आता. Your next big thing could be anything, but if your heart and soul is not into it, it doesn't work. And also, running a business is hardly about what you love. It is so much secretarial work. It is so much donkey work. And again, it feels like you are getting to do what you love, but 70% of the time is spent doing things that you don't love. It's tax, it's HR, it's hiring, it's firefighting. It's not like, oh, like for example, Nate first also, मुझे sports पसंद है. The amount you get, the amount of time you get to interact with sports must be so limited.
Yeah, that's true. I think there's no big idea as such. I agree with that viewpoint as well. And you have to be true to yourself, basically. Something that you strongly believe in and something that really defines you. Of course, you have to keep improving, you have to keep finding new paths, but there will always be one, two things that you're really attached to, really grounded with, and then these need to be part of what you're doing if you want to, say, find your ikigai. It's a very cliche term, but yes, it's true. So, yeah, just be true to yourself and keep looking out for new things, problems that people are facing, and I'm sure there will always be competition in everything, but you have to find that one thing, two things that you can do better based on your experience, based on your competencies, and based on your interest.
Perfect. We can just say thank you for being such a lovely audience, I must say. I never had such a good audience here. We'll just take 1-2 questions because we're running a little late. Anyone who would like to ask any question? Anything? I think we're good to go there? Perfect. Thank you so much.